All right, let's talk about SEO. Search engine optimization. We're going to break down how you can get your website to go from being totally invisible to being the first thing your ideal audience finds when they search online. Okay, let's get into it. You know that feeling, right? You pour all this time and energy into building the perfect website, you hit publish, you're so proud, and then nothing. Just crickets. Yeah, that digital silence, it's super frustrating. But believe me, it happens to almost everyone. And the good news? It's totally fixable. So here's the secret. You got to stop thinking about Google like it's some kind of magic black box. Instead, I want you to picture it like the world's best librarian. Seriously, their only job is to sift through billions of books, which are web pages, and hand the perfect one to whoever walks in and asks a question. Your job is to make your website their #1 recommendation. And they do this with a pretty simple 3-step process. First, these little automated programs called spiders are constantly scouring the internet, discovering new pages. Then, they take all that content and they index it. They analyze it, they organize it, and they store it in this absolutely colossal digital library. And finally, the magic happens. You type something in the search bar, and in a split second, they rank everything in that library to give you the most relevant results. And that, my friends, is where SEO comes in. But here's the really important part. This isn't about trying to trick the system. It's all about making your website so incredibly clear and helpful that our librarian can just grab it off the shelf and say, yep, this is the one. I know exactly who needs this. Okay, so when we talk about SEO, it really boils down to 2 main things. You've got on-page SEO, that's everything you do directly on your website. The words, the headlines, all that stuff. Then you've got off-page SEO, which is all about building your reputation out there on the rest of the internet. And look, both are super important for the long haul, but you've got to start somewhere, right? You can't exactly get rave reviews for a house if the inside is a total mess. You have to clean up your own space first. That's why today we're focusing on that foundation, on-page SEO. So that leads to the big question, right? How do you actually talk to this librarian? How do you basically wave your hand in this giant digital library and say, hey, over here, my page is about this? Well, the answer starts with something really simple, but it is so powerful, the keyword. And don't let the name fool you, it's not some technical jargon. It's literally the words, the phrases that real people are typing into that search box when they have a problem or need something. And that's exactly why the very first thing you do, before you even write a single word of content, is keyword research. It's basically your detective work to figure out what those search terms actually are. Honestly, everything else you do is built right on top of this. And this is a huge mental shift for so many people. You might be an expert in, dynamic hydration solutions. But if your customers are just typing sports drink for runners, you have to meet them where they are. You have to speak their language, not yours. That is the heart of great SEO. All right, so you get it. You need to find the words people are actually using. But there are millions of them. How in the world do you pick the right ones? Well, it turns out it's a bit of a balancing act between 3 really important things. First, there's search volume. Super simple. How many people are searching for this thing every month? And it's so tempting to go for the big ones, the keywords with tens of thousands of searches. But here's a little insider tip, especially if your site is new. Aim for that sweet spot, somewhere between 100 and 1,000 searches a month. Why? Because you can actually win there. It's a place with real traffic, but not insane competition. Okay, second thing you got to look at is competition, or what a lot of tools call keyword difficulty. This is basically a score that tells you how tough it's going to be to get on that first page of Google. Are you up against like Wikipedia and Amazon, or smaller blogs? Choosing a low competition keyword is like picking the hiking trail that's less crowded. You've just got a much better shot at getting to the top. And last, but honestly, this might be the most important one, is relevance. Your content has to match what the user intends to find. Think about it. If someone searches how to fix a leaky faucet, they're not looking for an article on the history of plumbing. They want step-by-step instructions. If your page doesn't deliver on that intent, it's the wrong answer to their question. Okay, so all of this brings us to this really cool idea, the difference between short tail and long tail keywords. So, take a look at shoes. It's short, right? And yeah, the search volume is huge, but the competition, it's sky high. And the relevance? We have no idea what they really want. Now look at the other side. Women's running shoes for trails. Way more specific. The volume is lower, for sure, but the competition is also lower, and the relevance, it's through the roof. That person is ready to buy. And that right there is the big secret. That's the key. Those long-tail keywords, they don't just bring you clicks, they bring you the right people. People who are way further down the road to making a decision. This is quality traffic, and it's so much more likely to actually convert. But, okay, let's zoom out for a second. Once you start getting the hang of this, you realize something. Chasing one keyword at a time, it's a good start, but it's not the end game. The real strategy, the thing that separates the amateurs from the pros, is much bigger. It's to become a trusted expert on a whole topic. It's about building what's called topical authority. This is where Google stops seeing you as just a website with one good article and starts seeing you as the expert on an entire subject. You're not just writing about training for a 5K. You're covering everything. The best shoes, the right nutrition, how to avoid injuries, the whole shebang. You become the go-to resource. You know, the folks at Writers Inn really nailed it with this quote. And why does this matter so much? Because once Google sees you as an authority, it trusts you. And when it trusts you, all of your pages on that topic get a massive boost. It's like a rising tide that lifts all your boats. So when you put it all together, when you start to understand how that librarian thinks, and you learn to speak the exact language your audience is using, you're not just tweaking a website anymore. You're literally turning on a faucet for a steady stream of people who are out there right now looking for exactly what you have to offer. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. What is the topic that the world needs your expertise on? Figure that out, and you're not just playing the SEO game anymore. You're on your way to building a real, lasting authority online.